Okay, so in the last lecture, we have seen the flowers, types of flowers, the components of flowers. Now, today we'll start with the study of inflorescence. Now, normally we know when flowers they are present on the plant, they are pollinated by different agents, and out of that agents, some of them they are living. In order that the flower will be easily seen by these pollinating agents, like insects or birds, these flowers they are grouped together on a spatial branch. This grouping of flower on a spatial branch or the arrangement of flowers on the specialized branch is called as inflorescence. Typically, inflorescence has a main branch holding all the parts of the inflorescence that is called as the peduncle. And this peduncle might be branched again, then it is called as the rachis. So we have the peduncle, it branches that are the rachis, and on the rachis you have the stalk of the flower that is the pedicel, which holds the flower on it. At the base of the pedicels or at the base of the peduncle, you might have a leaf-like structure that is called as a bract. In some cases, you have the peduncle which is modified into a flattened, fleshy, disc-like structure that is called as a receptacle, usually seen commonly in sunflower. Now, in some cases, the flower might not be grouped. It may be present singly. Then it is called as solitary flower or solitary inflorescence. And again, in some cases, the flowers might be very small. Again, especially in the family Asteraceae, where you have very minute flowers, then these flowers they are called as the florets. Now we have the types of inflorescence. Basically, you have three different types of inflorescence. You have the racemose type of inflorescence, cymose type of inflorescence, and the spatial type of inflorescence. Starting from the first one, that is the racemose type of the inflorescence, where you have the peduncle or the axis having indefinite or unlimited growth. Now, practically it does not have indefinite growth. What it means that the tip of the inflorescence does not terminate into a flower. Now, in this, you have the older flowers which are present at the base, whereas the younger flower which are present at the top, what is also called as the acropetal or centripetal succession. Exactly opposite to this. Now, flowers in this case, you may have the sessile flowers or pedicellal flower, that does not matter. Exactly opposite to this, in cymose inflorescence, you have the peduncle axis or the inflorescence which is definite or with limited growth. Now, here the tip of the inflorescence is terminating into a flower. So, we have the older flower at the top and the younger flower at the base. That what is called as the basipetal or centrifugal succession. Third one, you have the spatial inflorescence. Now, in many cases, the inflorescence might get modified so that you can't call it as a racemose inflorescence or as a cymose inflorescence. All such type of inflorescence they are categorized into what is known as the spatial inflorescence. I will start first with the racemose inflorescence and its types. The first type of the racemose inflorescence is a simple raceme. So what we have in the definition of racemose inflorescence, it exactly applies here. You have the peduncle or rachis, it's elongated, erect, having unlimited growth, and the flowers they are present in the acropetal succession. That is older flower at the base, younger flower at the top. All the flowers they are bisexual, bracteate, and pedicellate. You might have commonly seen the flowers of brassica, that is mori or cassia. Now, in some cases, this simple raceme might be present in another form, what is called as the compound raceme or panicle. It is quite similar to the simple raceme, the main difference being that the peduncle is divided. Here you have the peduncle, in addition to that, you have the rachis. And on the rachis, the flowers they are arranged very similar to the simple raceme. So you have the example of legerstomia. Now, legerstomia, that is the state flower of Maharashtra, it is having the panicle type of arrangement of inflorescence. Next type of racemose inflorescence is simple spike. Now, simple spike again it is similar to the simple raceme. The only change or the only exception being that the flowers here they are not pedicellate. All the flowers they are sessile. Second type in that is your compound spike. Now, compound spike is again similar to the simple spike. Here also, you have the peduncle that is divided. So, you have the peduncle, you have the rachis, and on the rachis, you have the pedicels. Again, all the flowers they are sessile. So, pedicels are not there, but they are sessile. So, directly sessile flowers they are arranged on the rachis, and rachis is placed on the peduncle. So, you have the example of Amaranthus viridis, or you have the chenopodium. Next type of inflorescence in racemose type is your corymbose inflorescence, commonly seen in the plants like Cisalpinia or Cassia tora. Now here the peduncle they become condensed, shortened, and you have the bisexual bracteate flowers arranged on it. Now the main thing here is the pedicels they are of different length. Those present at the periphery, the pedicels are longer. Those present in the center, the pedicels are shorter. Now, this arrangement makes all the flower to come at the same level. And such type of arrangement, such type of inflorescence, that is your corymb inflorescence. Compound corymb, exactly similar to the simple corymb. Here again the peduncle is divided. So you have the peduncle, then the rachis, and then you have the flowers arranged on it. Quite similar to the first one, that is the corymb. You have the umbel inflorescence. Now here the peduncle again is shortened, it is globular, a small knob-like structure is formed, and on which you have the bisexual flowers. Now, differing from the corymb inflorescence, all the pedicels they are of equal length, which looks or makes the inflorescence look like that of the umbrella, and this so the name given is umbel inflorescence. So maybe you have heard the family Umbelliferae. All the flowers in this particular family, they are the umbels. Common example that is of Allium cepa. You may, if you are from the rural area, you might have observed the flowers of onion. So that is your Allium cepa, especially in the summer season. Now here, this umbel inflorescence on the lower side, you have small bracts which are papery, and these bracts they are grouped together. So there is the formation of an involucre called as the involucre of bracts. Compound umbel observed in coriandrum is quite similar to the umbel. Again, the main difference is that you have the peduncle which is divided. So peduncle, rachis, and on the rachis you have the arrangement of the flowers. Next is the capitate. Now capitate inflorescence again is quite simple to the umbel inflorescence. The main thing being that in umbel inflorescence you have the pedicellate flowers. In capitate inflorescence you have the sessile flowers. And these sessile flowers they are not covered or they are not protected by the involucre of bracts. Common example of this type of inflorescence is your Acacia nilotica. Nowadays it is called as the Vachelia nilotica. Name has been changed. Doesn't matter, you use Acacia nilotica or you use Vachelia nilotica. Then you have the capitulum or head inflorescence. Sometimes this is considered or this is included in the special type of inflorescence. Now, in capitulum inflorescence, there is the formation of the receptacle. The peduncle it is flattened into a convex receptacle, which is saucer shaped, and all the flowers, as they are small, sessile, inconspicuous, they are called as the the florets. And these florets, they are arranged on this receptacle or disc. Now, on the lower side, you have the involucre of bracts, which is covering the receptacle from the lower side. On the top, you have the two different types of florets: ray florets and disc florets. Ray florets, they are present towards the periphery. They are sessile and brightly colored, situated at the periphery or the rim of the receptacle. And the main function of these ray florets is to attract the insects for the pollination. Disc florets, on the other hand, they are bisexual, sessile, bracteate, and florets, they are produced starting from the center of the receptacle. All the flowers, they are produced in the centripetal succession. Now, capitulum or head inflorescence, again, it might be what is called as the compound capitulum or compound head, where you have the uh, peduncle branched, and again on the branch peduncle, you have the heads arranged. Second type of inflorescence, main second type of inflorescence, that is your cymose inflorescence. So, as already we have seen, cymose inflorescence, that is the determinant type of the inflorescence or that having the limited growth. Now, the tip of the inflorescence is terminated into a flower. So, older flower will be at the top, younger flower will be at the base. The most common example of this, which you may have seen, and that is of jasmine. So, mogra, you might have seen. So, when you try to pluck it from the plant, so it is in a group of three. So, the bigger one at the top, younger one, two younger ones following that bigger one. Now, the cymose inflorescence, the first subtype is that of the solitary cyme. Solitary, that is single. So, if you do remember your English lessons or English poems, you might have had one poem, that is the Solitary Reaper, where there is a single uh, girl reaping the harvest in her farm, and the poet happens to go by her, and he starts writing the poem on her, that is the Solitary Reaper. Similarly, here you have a single flower which is not grouped, and so the inflorescence name is your solitary cyme, most commonly observed in hibiscus. Second type is that of uniparous or monochasial cyme. Now, here the primary peduncle is terminating into an older flower, and the peduncle is producing the branch at the base. It is producing only a single branch that again terminates into a flower. That branch will again give rise to a new branch. In this way, it will give the single branches on one side. Now, this uniparous or monochasial cyme is again divided into two different types: helicoid cyme and the scorpioid cyme. Now, helicoid cyme, you have the primary peduncle terminating into an older flower, which is followed by producing a single branch. Now, all the successive branches, they are produced on one side of the peduncle. Most common example, that is of the Hemilia patens. Whereas the second type, that is the scorpioid cyme. So, peduncle will produce one single branch on one side, followed by another branch on the another side in a zigzag pattern. And so it is called as the scorpioid cyme. Most common example that is of the heliotropium. Now this plant you might not have been you seen it, but the second one, that is the gossypium or cotton, that is quite common, so you might have observed. Then next is we are biparous or dichasial cyme. Now here the peduncle is terminated by a flower, so older flower will be produced there, and on the lower side you have the two branches which are formed opposite to each other. So each branch again will produce successive two branches at the lower side. So dichasial or biparous cyme. Common example that we have seen, that is the jasmine or mogra. Then the next one, that is your multiparous or polychasial cyme. Now here, as the name suggests, more branches, n number of branches, they can be produced from the peduncle or base of the peduncle. So you have the example of nerium, commonly called as the canher, or you have the example of crinum. Now next we have the special type of inflorescence. Now in special type of inflorescence, the first one is the hypanthodium inflorescence. Now hypanthodium inflorescence is typically present in family Moraceae. So all members of Moraceae, especially the ficus, genus ficus, it has the hypanthodium. Now in hypanthodium inflorescence, you have a receptacle which is globose or pear shaped. This globose pear shaped receptacle is hollow from inside. There is a short stalk and a very fine narrow opening at the top, that is called as the ostiole. Now this ostiole is guarded by numerous fine small hairs. Now the peculiarity of this inflorescence is that you have very small flowers present inside the hypanthodium. These flowers, they are of three different types. You have the male flower, you have the female flower, and you have the gall flower. A male flower or the staminate flower, you have the stamens producing the pollen grain, whereas the female flower, it is the fertile female flower, and the third one is the sterile flower or the gall flower. Now, the main difference between the gall flower and the female flower is in the size of the style. So again, one thing peculiar about this particular inflorescence is that you have a very small insect, that is blastophaga, which pollinates this flower, and it enters inside the inflorescence through the ostiole. So when the blastophaga enters inside, the female, it has to lay the egg. Now the style of the female flower, fertile female flower, is quite big. Blastophaga is not capable of um, inserting its ovipositor inside it and laying the egg into the ovary. So these flowers, they are safe and they would produce seeds afterwards. Whereas in the gall flowers, you have the style which is smaller. So the female of blastophaga, it can easily insert its ovipositor inside it and lay eggs into the ovary. So afterwards, when the eggs hatch, they would eat away the ovary of the gallflower and they come out. When they become mature, they try to escape from this inflorescence, and in doing so, they carry the pollen grains with them on their body and bring about the pollination. So this is a very particular type of inflorescence, that is the hypanthodium inflorescence. Next inflorescence, that is the cyathium inflorescence. Now in cyathium inflorescence, you have a very short knob-like structure forming a cup. Now this cup has a nectary at its tip. Now generally you have numerous male flowers represented by stamen and a single female flower located in the center. Female flower is pedicellate, long, bracteate, and male flowers, they are apetalous. So represented only by a stamen. So you may call them as the naked flowers. This Cyathem inflorescence, and that is the typical character of family Euphorbiaceae. So all Euphorbia, you will find the Cyathem type of inflorescence. The last special type of inflorescence is the verticillaster inflorescence. Now, verticillaster inflorescence is the characteristic of family Lamiaceae or Labiatae. Now, here you have the peduncles produced from both sides of the stem, and this peduncle basically they are the dichasial cyme. Later on, this dichasial cyme they get converted into monochasial cyme. Now, giving such an appearance that the flowers they are covering the stem from all the sides, so called as the verticillaster. So all the members of family Labiatae, maybe Ocimum or maybe Leucus, they have this type of inflorescence, that is the verticillaster inflorescence. Thank you.